Hello semua, selamat kembali ke Bola Itu Live. Hari ini kita ada episod yang istimewa. Walaupun tiada Kish bersama-sama dengan saya, tapi saya ada adik saya, iaitu
Chun Hang.
Ya, Chun Hang. Chun Hang akan bersama-sama dengan saya. Bukan saya dan Chun Hang sahaja. Kita ada bekas pemenang Premier League sebanyak 2 kali, pemenang FA Cup, pemenang EFL League Cup, semua dia dah menang.
Semua dah menang.
Siapa dia? Introduce Chun Hang.
Nama dia Hart.
Hart, thank you very much
happening, guys?
for sitting down with us. This is actually our second interview. You know, the other day I asked him to rate some of the best saves that we collected from Malaysian League.
Yeah.
And he chose Sam Somerville.
Sam Somerville.
It had to be a UK mixed person.
Had to be. It's written in the stars.
How are you, Hart?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
How do you find Malaysia so far?
Oh, it's been fun. It's been a busy trip, but it's been a lot of fun.
Is this your first time in Malaysia?
First time in Malaysia, yeah.
Wow, welcome to
How are you coping
Kuala
with the
Lumpur.
weather, actually?
Do you know what? I've barely felt any of the weather. I've been in a van, or I've been inside in AC, so. But I wanted to feel the heat. It's very cold back home.
Yeah, maybe you will have a chance to feel the heat. Let's go straight into our topic of discussion today.
Yeah.
I've told you that we are going to talk about goalkeeper a lot today. The GK Union. Actually, last week, after a heroic performance from Altai Baindir in
Yep.
FA Cup for Man United, a few days after that, Andre Onana came up with a statement that he was glad that the number 2 goalkeeper did well there, and he publicly praised him and he wishes him well, which is something that we haven't seen a lot between goalkeepers due to the big pressure and big competition. How do you find that so far?
No, I think Andre Onana is just a very happy, positive person. I think when you've got a relationship with people that you work with, especially the kind of number 1, number 2 narrative, you can become really close friends. You know, your families interact together. You understand each other, and to be a really good number 1, you need good goalkeepers behind you who respect your position. They've got to be there for you to help you in all times. Celebrate your good times, be able to have someone you can talk to when you feel like you want someone's opinion, when you've got that good relationship. And I totally agree with him. I've had it many times when I've been playing, and the guy that I've been keeping out the team's had a game. I've wanted them to do well. You know, I've got nothing but love and respect for most of the guys that I work with.
Joe, do you then think the concept of a goalkeeping union is universal across football? Like, for example, you've played in Italy, you've played in England. Is there a cultural difference when it comes to the goalkeeping union?
The goalkeeping department,
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's not a given. If you don't get on with someone, you don't get on with someone. And if you've not got a good relationship, we're human beings at the end of the day. We're not, you're not born a goalkeeper. But I think how it comes, and the respect and the understanding, is that you work together so closely daily. You see the hard work that everybody puts in. You know the pressures that's put in, and you also get to understand that no one goes out there to make a mistake. Especially in a goalkeeping position. So I think even if you don't necessarily like someone, or you don't spend time with them frequently or personally, you still understand their position and respect their position. So you almost want to defend them, defend their honour, because it's such an easy position to criticise. Look, I don't feel bad about that. I know you know who you are, and you know what job you're signing up for when you're a goalkeeper. So you understand that you're there to be fired at, and not everyone understands you. But I think it's important that when you've got a personal friend or a colleague that you understand, you need to stand up for them.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to ask something,
sure.
John. Goalkeepers, between goalkeepers in a team, it seems that they are more close to one another than, say, a midfielder to another midfielder, or a defender to another defender. Why is that happening?
You spend so much time together personally. Often it's changing a little bit now. You spend a lot more time with the team, but you still have your moments where you'll have goalkeeper meetings. You'll spend time warming up together. You go away separately in the training and work together.
Even in the warm-up sometimes, yeah?
Even in the warm-up, yeah. So you definitely spend a lot more time together, so you get to understand each other. Like I say, you don't have to be close friends. You know, we're all hard-working professionals, and sometimes your personalities don't match. But I think there's a common respect there. Most, if not every goalkeeper I've worked with has had a very good mentality in terms of working hard, and I respect that. So like I say, whether you got on with them as a person or not, you still respected them and wanted to have their best interests. Yep.
Then, in through your career, where's the goalkeeping union that you felt most connected to?
Do you know what? I've been very lucky. There's not been many where I haven't really enjoyed the company of my other goalkeepers. You know, on the England scene, I've always managed to get on well. Manchester City, we had a great group. We had the likes of Costel Pantilimon, Willie Caballero, Richard Wright, Stewie Taylor, all playing really important roles. I absolutely loved being at Celtic recently. Scott Bain was there with me the whole time. When we had young goalkeepers coming through. That was always a real buzz for me, because I was a young goalkeeper once. I was a third choice goalkeeper. And the energy and the excitement that you see from a younger player, especially as I got older, really made me feel good and made me feel alive, and I loved being around it.
I want to ask the goalkeeping department in a Premier League club. Yeah. Yesterday, I clicked on the Liverpool website, and it says there that the head of goalkeeping coach is one person, and then they got the goalkeeping coach, which is Claudio Taffarel from Brazil, and another assistant. So 3 people, manning the group, and then they have Alisson, the first choice, and then they have Kelleher, and then they have another one, the third choice, and then they have another one coming from the reserve or from the academy. 4, 5 goalkeepers and 3 people manning them. Has it always been that way, or was it different back in 2006 when you first joined Man City?
It's definitely totally changed. It was always one goalkeeper up until very recently, and then I think it's becoming a lot more common to have 2. But that's just, backroom staffs are growing, sports scientists are implementing themselves. There's a lot more, the set piece coaches. There's so much more energy and efficiency going into it. I actually think it makes sense.
So you're in favour of that?
I think so, yeah. The game changes. I think often you'll have someone who's not necessarily fit enough. It's a tough job being a goalkeeper coach, to constantly be serving balls, smashing balls, hundreds of balls a day. It takes its toll on the body. And when I look back in my career, my goalkeeper coach often struggled physically. Usually they're elder people, 40 and above. They've had football careers, so their body's been through it already. Smashing balls every single day.
It's a natural for them.
It's tough. And they want to give the best service. So to give all the qualities that they can, I think it's important that they tie in now with younger goalkeeper coaches and different ideas and keep that relationship going.
Now that explains why I always wonder why the goalkeeping coach has always had, great accuracy when they strike the ball. That explains it. Hundreds of balls being served every day.
A lot of practice.
Every day. Honestly, they're absolute machines, but they're only human.
But Joe, so you've spoken about how you've come up as the third choice keeper, second choice keeper, and first choice keeper, and we've mentioned about how big the goalkeeping union has become recently. How does the goalkeeping union handle accountability? Say, for example, there's unfortunately a mistake that costs a game. Do you, perhaps as a senior goalkeeper, go on and perhaps tell your teammate, encourage them, defend them? Do you tell them off? What sort of conversations are held behind the scenes?
I think just honest conversations. Like I say, I've been a goalkeeper who's liked to have accountability. I've liked to address things, because it can be quite awkward if your senior goalkeeper, your top goalkeeper, makes a mistake. I've made them before, and I've known that people aren't quite sure how to behave around me, and I've made it very clear that, look, it happens. It's the difficult moment. I would have done this differently. I'll ask other people's opinion. What would you have done differently? We'll deal with it, get it out in the open, and then we'll move forward. Because there's so many good things going on, so many good moments, and so many great things to discuss in a good career. But I think it's important that you have to address the difficult moments, talk it through as a team.
Openly.
Openly, yeah. But that's not me telling it. That's not how everyone does it.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about life and football. Everyone's got
all
different
these
ways
differences.
of dealing. You've got to understand. You get to spend that much time with someone. You can read them. And I wanted people to feel comfortable, to be honest with me, because I always wanted to get better. But I understood that some people like to have a laser focused mentality of they were never in the wrong, and that's not them being a bad person. That's just how they get the best out of themselves. So I think it's important to understand people as humans.
Right. I always have one question that I reserve whenever I meet a Premier League goalkeeper. I want to ask them. Now I meet you, I want to ask you. Okay. So from Shrewsbury Town, going to Man City in 2006, can I say that was a time where it was a different syllabus altogether for the goalkeeper, different kind of playing, different play style.
Yep.
And maybe after the Barcelona revolution by Pep Guardiola, and we sort of see Victor Valdez started playing with a leg, and then it just spread like a virus to everywhere. So now goalkeepers all around the world playing with the feet, right? Yep. Old syllabus, like I call it old syllabus, and a new syllabus. Right? You came from the era, you started with the old one, then going to the new one. We've seen how David De Gea, year after year, even after he put, player of the season performance year after year, people still saying that, United should change the goalkeeper because it is an old syllabus he's playing with, right? Yeah. There's a jump from the old one to the new one, playing with the feet and all this stuff. Is that big?
No, it's not that big. And I think you'll find...
I knew it. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Cool.
Ignore that. Is it that big? Because for me, no. Because essentially, goalkeepers can really kick the ball.
Yeah, it's not about... I originally, when it first started to change, I thought it was about becoming a better footballer, becoming the ability of a central midfielder, being able to pick passes, disguise passes. The quality of a goalkeeper in the Premier League is good enough to play any kind of system. It's about the coach being able to coach them, being able to coach the entire team.
So it can be trained.
Yeah, because it's basically a timing, and you'll watch the best goalkeepers in the world who are part of the new syllabus, as you like to call it. They don't receive the ball and then play unbelievable passes. They receive the ball and then they have three options most of the time. And they're able to choose and assess which one it is. Okay. Am I coming here short? Am I coming there? Or there short? And then the fourth option, which often is when the team overpresses, you just chip it over the top. So like you said, the quality of a goalkeeper nowadays is good enough with his feet to strike a good ball, to play a clean pass. So it's not necessarily being a better footballer, it's about playing the system better, which comes with coaching, which comes with your teammates getting into position. So the David De Gea thing, he's more than capable in a team that plays, because he was taken out. His contract wasn't renewed because potentially he couldn't play a certain way. But Erik ten Hag continued to have Andre Onana come in and asked him to kick it long. So he was just unfortunate. But I think you'll find actually most places, unless you've got a young up and coming goalie, people want them out. That's just the narrative of a goalkeeper. They'll always find faults with him, but it's about cementing yourself internally.
I mean, what do you think when you see, the people in the GK Union that grew up with you, around the same age as you, that are still playing at the top level now, people coming from the old syllabus, like I call it, people like Pepe Reina still playing, people like David De Gea is doing very, very well in Florence right now, in Fiorentina. When you see them, do you secretly wish them doing well toward the tail end of their career?
No,
as a goalkeeper?
I genuinely wish everyone well, especially guys that I've crossed paths with. I've got professional relationships with these guys, and that's the beautiful thing about football. I've got no ill feeling towards it. I love watching a modern day goalkeeper. I loved watching the Spurs goalkeeper come in recently. I just saw that fresh energy and
Kinski,
he's been great.
The way that he wants to play, and it was really exciting. Just as much as I like watching David De Gea making superb saves out in Fiorentina now. I've got no prejudice to way anyone plays, because like I say, we're all different personalities, all different strengths.
Joe, on the topic of syllabus, because we've come to see that perhaps in terms of goalkeeping sense, there is a difference in the techniques that are being used, right?
Yep.
Perhaps I've heard in one of the podcasts that you mentioned that Xavi at City have introduced a wide stance, and you're more of a neutral stance.
Yep.
So could you perhaps explain the evolution of these goalkeeping techniques? Like we can see perhaps the City goalkeepers are adopting a wider stance when they save one-on-one shots. What do you prefer, and how do you see it evolve over the years?
It's evolved because I think the game and the ideas have become more international. We kind of had, it's funny because when I used to speak to the foreign goalkeepers that I played with, they very much had an English style in their head. They're like, well, you do this the English style. And in, you know, me growing up, that was just the style. I didn't know that there was any other way. But I always just wanted to be in the best position to make me feel comfortable, make me feel strong to cover the whole goal. I didn't realize there was a style to it. But the more the world's opened up, YouTube, foreign goalkeepers, the higher the level I've got, you know, I've become more aware of international styles. And Xavi, the goalkeeper coach of Manchester City, was very keen on implementing a style that he believed in. And you know, to start with, I kicked back. I was, you know, in the best years of my life, I felt so comfortable in the goal that I didn't feel I needed to change. But, you know, when I calmed myself down and we developed a better way of communicating, I became more open to the idea, and we discussed it. And there's loads of different ways of doing it. That's the beautiful thing. But I think that ultimately you want your goalkeeper to feel comfortable and strong.
So I like how you've mentioned that you come into terms with Xavi at one point, and you kind of develop a new style. But before that, it was a talk that you had with your mental coach called Jamie Edwards, right?
Yeah.
So he encouraged you to have a conversation with Xavi, and you guys kind of found a middle ground in the way that you perhaps could work going forward. And you guys ended up winning the title. You were, I think you won the Golden Glove as well. You were on top of the world at that point, and that came at a point where you had clarity. You communicated. There was good communication. Do you think having that experience with a mental coach, you perhaps had a way of dealing with what Pep Guardiola told you? Because Pep Guardiola, he came in and he essentially said, "Joe, you're not my type of goalkeeper." So if you had not had that experience dealing with perhaps your mental coach, would you have reacted differently when Pep first came in?
I think so. I love that. That was one of the most important moments in my life, the meeting Jamie. It was at a time where I'd kind of got to about the age of 27 where I'd never thought, I'd just done. I was happy, I was excitable, I was professional. Everything that I did went well. And I just felt like I could just keep developing like that. I had no stumblings. And then I had a moment in my career, early Manuel Pellegrini, where I just, everything I did just didn't work. You know, I was in goal, I was causing a problem for my team, and I couldn't understand it. And it was suggested for me to speak to someone. I'm always open. I'm open to anything. You know, it's a big wide world out there. It's an exciting world. And you know what? Whatever we did goalkeeper-wise, it just really improved me as a person. And I don't mean that I'm not a better person. I just understand things better. And it gave me a great way of communicating with people and understanding that it's just not my opinion is not the only opinion on this planet. And if someone doesn't agree with you, that doesn't mean you have to argue with them. There's actually lots of interesting things you can find out from different people if you're willing to learn and listen and open your mind up and not take things too personally. And that moment that you talk about when Pep came in and decided that I wasn't his goalkeeper, of course I stood up for myself. I said I was more than capable. But I could see that this man, you know, it wasn't a man to negotiate with. He had a vision that he wanted to do for the way he had things, and I didn't fit into it. So with the skills that I'd learned from Jamie, we were able to have a conversation, work out what was best for both of us. Because ultimately, you know, I was still paid. It's not Sunday League. You can't just say you're not playing anymore, go somewhere else. I had a contract. I was playing for the national team, and we did our best in a bad situation. You know, obviously, I think I did very well in that situation because he was making his decision either way. But with the way that I was able to communicate and the way we were able to get through the situation, we both went our separate ways and we moved on. Like life goes on. That was such a small part of my life, and We've got to realise when there's something that's worth fighting for, and when there's something that you know someone's not going to change their mind, so you look for the best solution.
I think goalkeeping coaches, they are always a great character. I don't know if it's just me or sometimes real goalkeeper, professional goalkeeper in Malaysia, when I talk to them, because goalkeeper is an interesting subject to me. When I talk to them, they kind of agree with me that goalkeeping coaches, they are always a character. Yeah. So in your career, in your long career, Joe, who's the goalkeeping coach that maybe influenced you the most?
So it would be a relatively known goalkeeping coach in terms of a global audience, but there was a guy called Dave Timmins from Shrewsbury Town who, when I was 10, 11 years old, asked me to train with the club.
What's the name again, sorry?
Dave Timmins.
Dave Timmins,
yeah.
Okay.
And it was my local team was Shrewsbury Town, right? They were League Two. They had one goalkeeper coach. He did the under-8s all the way through to under-18s. Wow. He did the reserves and he did the first team. He was that guy. Yeah. And he asked me to come in. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy the kind of professional side of football when I was so young, but he left me an open invitation. Whenever I wanted to come back, I was welcome. And about 14, I decided I wanted to train with Shrewsbury Town. Okay. He took me straight in. He took me straight training in with the first team. He pushed me hard. I was playing first team football, playing under 18s, and then I was on the bench when I was 15 professionally, because this guy just believed in me and pushed me forward. And look, I was playing from the age of 17, and he pushed, and we've remained friends ever since. He's a top guy, and I just remember he's someone who really believed in me. But through my years, I had Tim Flowers, Eric Steele, Dave Watson.
Eric Steele is a big one.
Eric Steele's massive. He was great for me, really influential. Dave Watson, Birmingham in England. Xavi was great for me. We had a great relationship in the end, and I'm still friends to this day. Stevie Woods at Celtic, my last 3 years, was so important. But in the majority of the time, I've had good relationships with my goalkeeper coaches.
Right, maybe one last question about the goalkeeper. We've talked long about goalkeepers, right? Do you think in the next few years, the next couple of years, maybe 5, 10 years, this position, goalkeeper, will change, will have a massive change again?
Probably. Probably. Every position seems to change. That's the beautiful thing about football, constantly evolving, people coming up with new ways of doing things, people being brave enough to do it on the biggest scene, the sport trying to get more entertaining. More than likely, like I say, it's not just been the football side, the playing out from the back in my career. It probably changed 3 or 4 times as a whole. It's forever evolving, and I think that's my job now as a pundit, to understand that and not be negative towards it just because it's not the way that I did things. You have to be open to the new ideas and get excited by it.
It's easy for pundits to just hate what they don't experience, but shout out to you. You want to be open about it and just learn about it.
Because I know the hard work that goes into football. People don't just play out from the back. Oh no. The hard work that goes into it, and the system and the meetings and the almost NFL style understanding of your position. It's fascinating.
Joe, I like how you've mentioned about how easy it is to be criticized, especially playing at the highest level for so long. And you've had the unfortunate circumstance of perhaps getting really, really poor headlines written about you throughout the years, and it's ridiculous, right? And it's come at a point where you weren't perhaps the top choice anymore. This was perhaps the period when you were at Burnley, at Tottenham, for example. How did you mentally cope with that? Was Jamie with you, and did you lean on to any support throughout that tough period, I would assume?
Being seen as the best in the business was never a drive to me. I was just doing the best I possibly could, so I was very comfortable in those positions, in those situations, because I knew that I was doing things right. I knew I was giving my best. It just wasn't working out for me at that time. Look, it was frustrating, but I've got a very, very good understanding through difficult moments that the world doesn't revolve around me. Like I say, up until around 25, like many young guys, especially in professional sport, I thought the world revolved around me, because whatever I did, it went well, and I got better contracts. I was able to speak and do things, anything that I wanted.
You felt you had a little bit of power.
I just felt really. I just felt like there was nothing could stop me. I didn't use that in a negative way, but I never for any moment second guessed that whatever I wanted, I could get it professionally. And then I found out that that's not necessarily the case, and it was a great experience to feel that. And I actually in a perverse way, I enjoyed the bad moments, perceived from the outside, because I wasn't in a bad moment on the inside, because I was just working hard. And I was very comfortable that I was doing all the same work and the same attitude when things were perceived as going well. So however the footballing world works, it wasn't set up for me to do well, so I had to work, I had to dig in, but no issues from my side.
Yeah, in a what we call dog-eat-dog world, it's nice to have a little bit of pause and just reflect on yourself and just be positive about it, right?
Just keep cool, keep sticking to the things that you understand that have got you in the position that you're in. Constantly mind open, looking to improve, looking for clarity. Like I said, when you look for clarity, that's not just looking for someone to tell you great. There was nothing better than going in with a meeting with the manager and him saying, look, I'm not playing you for this reason. That's the dream. Look, it hurts. I'm human, it hurts, but it gives you something to work to, or an understanding rather than being on the phone. I can't work it out. This guy doesn't like me. No, if you go and sit in front of someone and say, look, please be honest with me, why am I not playing and what have I got to do to get back in? At the moment, I think he's better than you for the team, so at the moment I'm going to play him.
No, you can accept that.
Can't argue with that. I can come out the room. There's no demons in my head. I understood what he said. Push, get better. Maybe have to look elsewhere. That's life.
All right. I think it's time we need to divert our topic to,
Let's go.
To his time playing at the biggest club in the UK, one of the biggest clubs in the UK, Celtic.
Yeah.
What a moment that was. What a career you had at Celtic, being remembered as one of the greats, Super Joe Hart.
Can I want Joe to just tell us how did the move came about in the first place?
Well, I was very close to just finishing football, full stop. I was at Tottenham. I decided to go to Tottenham during the COVID year to go because there weren't many.
It was tough. Yeah.
There wasn't anything out there. I was an elder goalkeeper. The narrative around me wasn't great, and Jose Mourinho gave me the opportunity to go to Tottenham, and I had to get it right in my head. Hugo was the number one. Hugo's club captain, French captain, World Cup winner. And I was going to go there and do my best to support the team. Support him, support the team. And if I never played, then that's what I signed up for. I wanted to. I obviously had the conversation, if you do well and something changes, you could play. But I didn't go there with the expectancy. So that's already a climb down, in my opinion. I'd pretty much signed for everyone as the number one. Did a year there, and then Jose left and Nuno came in. And he had the opinion that I couldn't even sit on the bench for him. So I was like, I'm 34 now. There's an obvious kind of downward trajectory in my career. I thought, I don't need this anymore. I've got one more year left. I'll do the year and I'm gone. I've had my fun. Maybe this is my time. There's no room for me anymore. But Spurs, obviously, they needed me away. So, fair play. The conversation came with, can you have a conversation with Ange at Celtic? Who I didn't necessarily know who Ange was, respectfully. Had a conversation with him, immediately loved him. Celtic always appealed to me. It seemed like a fantastic club. Fraser Forster spent so many great years there, and he's a very close friend of mine. And he said, can we have a conversation? I told him exactly how I felt. I said, look, this might not sound like a sales pitch, but I'm close to leaving the game. I've got my family. I've had a great time. I absolutely love playing football. Love being the number one. Love representing a club. But if that's not what you need or not what you can do right now, then that's fine. He said, look, it's something that I'm looking for. He'd actually just taken over a team who, for the first time in I don't know how many years, hadn't won a trophy. And they needed he said he needed that little bit of leadership. He'd done his research on me on how I behaved when the times weren't great, and got great feedback. So look, it matched up really well. And I got straight in the car and drove up there, signed a 3-year contract. And you know what? I just knew that I wouldn't ever have to think about contract negotiations or anything like that again, because I just wanted to play for this club with my heart and soul. I didn't expect anything in return, and what I got in return filled my heart with joy and love, and that's why I ended up after 3 years saying, you know what, I'm just super happy, I'm going to leave it.
Describe the joy though when they put on the offer on the table. Celtic put on the offer on the table, and you signed it. Describe the joy.
Well, there wasn't at the time. You know, it was a difficult moment, and it wasn't. I didn't know that it was necessarily going to go well. You know, there wasn't a great.
Yeah.
There wasn't
unknown territory. Yeah.
Pardon?
It is unknown territory.
Well, yeah, I knew, but I knew that the club. I knew that I had a lot to prove.
Right.
You know, they probably were seeing a guy who was on the slide. The headlines weren't great about me. They didn't know how I felt or how I loved football and what I wanted to do in the game. You know, it was I very much had a lot to prove, and it's a crowd that you need to impress. Not necessarily you have to impress them on the field, but you have to impress them with your mentality and how you want to fight for the club. And it was a slow burning relationship, but
you got it lit up.
It lit up, and we fell, and we had some great success. I got to be a senior player in a dressing room, helped some really young, talented players. I had an amazing captain, Callum McGregor, who I loved working with.
Love Callum McGregor.
Yeah, so you know, I loved the role they gave me as a person more than anything, and I let my goalkeeping ability shine through.
Right. I think what you spoke most about is the trust that they've given you, right? The trust on you being Joe Hart. In that dressing room, they trust you completely on what you want. Is that trust, or rather, did you think that trust wasn't apparent in your previous clubs?
Yeah, but that's not because it was just a different moment for the club, and often I was going in, you know, but Torino and West Ham, I was on loan, you know. You can't, no one can really warm to you. You can sign a 19-year-old on loan who can light it up, and you can get super excited by them. I was kind of 30, 31, and I don't know, it was just hard to have that really kind of intense relationship that you know, when I was at Shrewsbury, I felt I was that young guy at Birmingham, and at Man City, like my roots were deep. My family, I grew up, I became a different person at Manchester City. It will be forever rooted in me. And then that's when I've played my best football, because it was proven at Celtic, when I felt safe and known and kind of loved. That was when I played my best stuff. So that was why I probably didn't perform to the highest of levels. But that's no one's fault. I don't feel bad towards the club, and hopefully they don't feel bad towards me. It just didn't work.
Yeah,
It reminded me of perhaps it was your last game, and there was massive tifo.
Oh yeah,
massive
so
tifo the Celtic fans did for you. A big tifo that I think it was Super Joe Hart, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I remember you posting it on Instagram, and it was amazing. The view was phenomenal. Could you describe the moment? Did you expect a tifo being made out of it?
No, I don't expect anything. You know, I just loved I loved playing for the club. I loved the energy. I loved the passion. I loved the way, like I say, they accepted me. I had a young family. They made my family feel very special. They made my friends feel very special. And that's enough. That is more than enough. And I had a good relationship with the supporters. But that was my last home game. We'd won the league. And there's a great section in the corner of the stadium that is bouncing the whole time. And I always used to love and watch and listen to the atmosphere. And 4 Champions League nights, huge tifos. And they actually unveiled it in the second half when I was down there. I had no idea, and I kind of double took, and it really shook me. Like, it made me very emotional, almost to the extent, because there was a second half to play.
Yeah.
I had to kind of slap myself to bring myself out of it. But tifo aside, like I say, the way the club made me feel welcome and valued and loved, it will forever live with me.
Not only as a player, but also as a person.
Well, mainly as a person. You know, I was beyond being a player at that age. I wasn't all engrossed in being a footballer. I just was very aware that I was a person and someone who represented a family, and it was. I love that place, and I will forever.
Would you say that you felt most connected to Celtic fans compared to all the teams that you've played, all the fans that you've connected throughout your career? Would you say Celtic fans were the best that you've connected with?
No, I connected. Like I say, I grew up at Manchester City. I arrived a boy. You know, I left Manchester City eventually with a young family. A lot changed. A lot went on. We grew as a club, and you know, I've never had a bad word said to me, and I will never say a bad word about that place. It was definitely my home growing up. and I love it for that.
But it looks like a Celtic continuing the tradition. They trusted Joe Hart, and now they went on to another, seasoned pro goalkeeper. Let's call it that way, Kasper Schmeichel.
Amazing, like Kasper's gone there and
he's played with you as well at City.
Yeah, we've crossed paths a long time. We're me and Kasper, we've had an entwined career, a lot of love and a lot of respect for each other, and that was why I announced I wanted to leave early, because I wanted to make sure, because I was one of the very few who got to leave Celtic in a better place than when they took it over, because they're so successful, so successful. But like I say, I came the year that they hadn't been. So to leave with them in a better place in the Champions League, multiple trophies, to take on Kasper's superb. And just going back to, you asked me whether Celtic were the closest ones in my career. They are, but I just wanted to make everyone it's Man City very close to me as well.
Yeah. Maybe different kind of connection, because it was growing, and Joe as a person also grew. Joe, now you talk about Celtic and their achievement after you came in. Let's talk about the master that created the achievement, which was Ange Postecoglou of Australia. We Asians are connected to him because he's Australian. He won J-League in Japan. He was a phenomenal coach. One thing that struck me the most about Ange is his range. He can connect with the top world superstars, and also the unknown from Asian League. This range is I don't know if there's any active manager out there who has the same range as him. For you, in your words, what's so great about the man Ange?
That word clarity again. He kept it very simple, very respectful. Like you say, he treated everybody exactly the same. He asked a lot, pushed a lot. He only kept people that he believed in. He was very open to people leaving if they needed to leave, not in an aggressive way, but if he didn't feel it was going to work for you, if he didn't feel it would work, or the player didn't feel it was going to work, he moved them on, or they moved on in a non-aggressive manner. And he just got the impression I got 2 years. He got hungry players around him, people who wanted to learn, people who wanted to push themselves, because he plays a very expansive way. But he's very clear in how he wants you to play it. And I, probably a message and something that I've learned about myself. Like I love clarity. If you ask me to do something, I'll try my best to do it. If you kind of leave it open to interpretation, and then when it's done well, you get a pat on the back, and when it's not done well, why have you done that? I don't do so well with that, but as a footballer and as a man, we had a great relationship from that early conversation, and someone that I respect, and it was a huge breath of fresh air in that time in my life, and I really enjoyed playing for him. Very, very motivational when it comes to it, an incredible speaker, and tactically very aware.
Where does he rank amongst the coaches that has managed you?
Right up there. No question about it. In my last 2 years, Brendan Rodgers as well. I absolutely loved working for Brendan, and there's no surprise to see him. It was a tough act to follow, Ange. Tough act, especially with his relationship, Brendan, from previously leaving. There was a bad taste in the mouth of the Celtic fans who you need
the
on
first
side.
Stint,
You need them on side. But he took his time and respected what had been done before him, and slowly implemented his style. And look how strong they are this season. So I'm very grateful for the last couple of years I got out there.
Did you have the chance to play with the young Asians that Ange brought to Celtic? The Japanese guys?
Daisen
Maeda, Kygo Furuhashi,
Ryo Hatate.
I think you at that point in your career, maybe you hadn't had the chance to play with more than one or two Asian guys in your team.
No, I hadn't.
Then what was the experience like?
Do you know what? He obviously had his experience of the J-League and that side of the world. And again, like many things Ange does, people said, no, it won't happen. You can't happen over in this league. But Kygo was actually there before me. But he plays Ange's system so well. He's just so dangerous, so alive, so sharp. Professionally, I was so impressed. Tomoki Iwata as well, who's gone on to Birmingham. even Yuki, who came over and didn't necessarily get picked. You know, Kwan from South Korea. We had Yang, Oh as well. Yeah.
Or the young star from South Korea.
And do you know what really pleased me, and something that I learned from, was the professionalism, the hunger. So humble, just guys who want to work hard, do their job, and go home. You know, not getting huge conversations out of the boys, just very respectful, very calm.
Understood.
But professionally, I learned a lot. I saw guys who took their job so seriously, and you know what else I saw? I didn't see people who shirked under the pressure. I saw people growing and getting better and improving, and it was a cool. Like I say, that's the amazing thing about football. I'm just a small, quiet guy from Shrewsbury, and I've got friends from Japan, South Korea, Argentina, Brazil. Football's amazing.
Yeah, and eventually they won the hearts of the fans too, and I'm so glad seeing Dyson Maeda, Kyogo Farashi, they all won the hearts of one of the biggest fan base in the world.
They're loved.
Celtic,
They're absolutely loved. Rightly so. You know, they're not loved for any other reason, and they're performing so well for the club, and they put their bodies on the line. Incredibly humble.
Maybe it proved what you said just now. You know, Celtic fans just don't want to see you only win, but you know, a little bit more than that. You know,
you need the emotional connection.
They want to see you connect. They want to see you appreciate, and they want to see. Look, it goes without saying to some people, but they want to see the same effort that they would if they could physically do it. That's what they do, but they understand they haven't got the capabilities, they're not got the qualities, but if they can see someone representing their shirt properly, however that may end, there'll always be love and respect.
Right, Chun Hang, you know what? I'm just going to ask a little bit to Joe about his time in Torino. Serie A is top 5 league in Europe. You have Premier League, you have League 1 in France, you have definitely Serie A. Serie A is big in Malaysia.
Yeah, okay.
Right, with a huge following in Malaysia. How do you find the time in Italy?
I enjoyed it. Like I said, it was a strange time for me. I joined a team that I had no connection with, and I'd not really had a conversation with. It was right at the end of the transfer window, but I needed to play. I needed a home because I wanted to play for my national team.
Did you enjoy Turin as a city?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Honestly, can't speak highly enough of it. I really enjoyed being a foreigner, living in a beautiful city with beautiful people, very humble, quality fan base. You know, there's obviously Juventus in the city, but Torino, I felt like every restaurant I went in, it was family run by Torino fans, and that was the real kind of atmosphere and the vibe that I was given. You know, we weren't the best team in the league, of course we weren't, but it was a good, humble group of guys. We worked hard, and I really enjoyed being in the city.
How did playing in Serie A, especially with Torino, improve you as a goalkeeper? Because Serie A is more of a tactical league. So did you learn anything?
Well, we were, but I was under the late Sinisa Mihajlovic, and he was very aggressive. He wanted his team attacking all the time. It was crazy football, actually, to an extent. I obviously went expecting a chess match. And it was to an extent at 0-0, but as soon as someone scored, the game just went bonkers.
Chaotic.
Yeah, and that was very much his personality, and he was a great personality. But I think did I learn much as a footballer? Maybe not, but did I learn as a person? So much. I had so much more understanding for guys coming into a different country, speaking second languages. Needing friends, needing the local people to understand them, to give them as much warmth and help as possible, understanding how important your partners are in welcoming other people's partners and children. So as far as that's concerned, I learned so much.
I mean, when he mentioned Sinisa, I just remember his Peaky Blinders hat.
Yes.
Towards the end.
The iconic.
He's a cool guy. He was crazy, and I say that with love.
Now that you have very positive remarks about your time in Turin, did you wish, especially during the long time you spent in Man City, you have had ventured abroad earlier or more in your career, maybe to Spain, maybe to France?
No,
maybe to Malaysia.
I mean, no. I just wanted to play for Manchester City. I didn't think about anything else. I was so focused and so happy. The trajectory of the club, the ambition of the club. I didn't look anywhere else, and I didn't intend to look anywhere else until they didn't want me.
Because obviously, when you are the number one England goalkeeper, offers might come from somewhere.
They might have done, but they'd have been wasted. I wouldn't have listened. There was nowhere that could have tempted me away. I was very, very happy and very, very excited to play for the club in the direction, like I say. Obviously, when they didn't want me anymore, I changed my idea. I was open to everything. I really enjoyed traveling the world. I was excited about Italy. I looked to go other places. It never actually came off, but I wasn't closed off to it.
One most memorable match from your time in Italy for us?
We beat Roma early on in my career.
Home or away?
Home, 3-1.
Oh, in Turin.
In Turin, it was absolutely rocking. It was special. That was.
Was it the time where Roma was coached by Paulo Fonseca?
I don't even know who the coach was. I know Edin Dzeko was playing.
Edin Dzeko was there.
So one of my friends was playing for them. Totti was still playing. It was a really great performance, and I really enjoyed that day.
What did you remember about it? Your performance or your team's performance?
Yeah, I had a good game. I was just starting to connect really well with the supporters. They unveiled actually a tifo of me because they've got a connection with Manchester City. So they'd organised that. And I remember just being in the park afterwards with my son in the city centre. Just like, a different way of life.
You didn't have to pay for me.
The sun was shining. Life was good.
Yep. Right, Chunhang.
Yes, I think we need to talk about KL to PL.
KL to PL, yeah.
KL to PL.
The last portion.
How was your experience shooting with the talents, and was there any funny moments you could remember?
The whole thing was just wild. They were such a funny group. I'll be honest, I came in, I didn't really know what I was doing. I knew that I was meeting the guys. I won't ruin what we did, but I was meeting some guys who were over from Malaysia who were shooting something. I was like, well, I'll see what happens.
Yep.
But the personality and the chemistry that they had, the excitement they had for the English game. I was with a few other Premier League legends, so that made it a little bit more fun. We managed to interact, have fun. It was, Nabil obviously was running the show.
Nabil is crazy.
Well, to start with, I was like, who is this guy? But you know what? He was so funny, so funny, and everyone, like I say, everyone brought their own little bit of quality to the team. And it was great actually catching up yesterday, and I wish them all well in their own individual
You know
careers.
what? I wish you can understand Malay so that you can watch all those old stand-up comedies that Nabil made. They were so good.
Are they good?
They were so good.
Well, he's funny in English, so.
Right. How does that compare to your experience, like welcoming, say, foreign players to your club?
Yeah.
Now you don't know these foreign media celebrities, and they're coming to your country, and you have to entertain them. And how does that compare to maybe receiving Robinho?
Wow, that was interesting. There was so much hype around him, but like I've found in football so many times, you can have these mega stars walk through the door. I've met some of the best players in the world. They're just normal guys, like they're just people. They're just young guys who want to play football. Often there's many stories, and some people have got their issues, but ultimately they're just same as me, same as you. Just a bunch of guys who love football, love playing it, and you just want to. My character and my nature is to nurture and look after people, so that's what I try to do.
Well, how can you? I mean, if Nabil in one side, and who's the footballer
amongst the group? In the group.
No. I mean, who was the in football?
Who's the Nabil of football?
Yeah, who's the Nabil of football that you crossed paths with? Was it Balotelli? No. No.
Balotelli, he cared about himself. Nabil wants to make everyone happy. Who was always joking? I suppose I crossed paths with Jimmy Bullard in the national team.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you actually played with Jimmy Bullard in the national team?
He was in the national team. A guy called David Bentley, if you remember him. Just good characters, just up for a laugh, just wanted to make people smile.
Light the place up,
Yeah, exactly.
Right, Joe, I guess this is the end of our interview today. We had so much fun talking to you, especially on the goalkeeping department. Thank you for enlightening us with the GK knowledge.
The GK knowledge,
Yeah.
Some top questions, guys. Well done. I really enjoyed that.
We're trying.
No, you understand the game, so keep it up.
Thank you very much. Itu saja untuk Bola Itu Live pada hari ini dan untuk ke depannya mungkin kita akan dapatkan Kish kembali, tetapi Chun Hang, terima kasih juga untuk menemani saya pada hari ini dan jangan lupa teruskan pantau terus Bola Itu Live di YouTube Astro Arena dan juga di Astro Arena 802. Bye bye.